When looking at me, people often wonder what happened. It was the end of May 2017. During a nightly trip on my bike, a drunk driver ran me over. So it has been a long, continuous process of rehabilitation with ups and downs. The accident caused multiple permanent disabilities, among which, what they call in medical terms, an acquired brain injury. It changed my stimulus processing, reduced my coping capability, caused a feeble short term memory. Even remembering this full talk is hard, so you'll see me looking at my notes quite often. I largely lost my orientation in time and space. Doing one thing after another in the correct order and on time proves to be constantly difficult and remains a source of much stress. I have lower energy levels, and there is the constant fight against fatigue. Since the accident, 11 times surgery has taken place. 4 times I came close to dying. I became seriously injured for life. My life was saved by scientific knowledge and medical technology, a clear proof and the result of progress in our times. If this had happened some decades ago, I would not have made it. Every brain injury is different, and the outcome depends upon the type, location, and the extent of the injury, and the amount of rehabilitation people have received. It's not just depending on the character and effort of the person with the injury. In everyday life, the advice if you work hard, you can get more or less wherever you want to, can be helpful. However, for people with brain injury, this is sadly most of the time not true. I lost most of my existing tools for thinking and had to try to bring structure in my damaged brain again. Almost all my existing memories, thoughts, convictions, dreams, they were lost. I woke up in an identity crisis. I had to redefine who I really was. In my life, daily routines, like just sitting in a lively home with my family or getting a backpack ready for work or catching a bus on time, became a huge challenge. Also, the constant restless feeling of time pressure is an everyday experience. So is the need for a calm and quiet surrounding. So I became more isolated, and because of this isolation, I feel the deep need for valuable social connection. Coming back among people is a very important part of my motivation to want to keep going. The first year was a fight for survival. I lived in the waiting room of a largely unconscious life. I only have a few personal memories of this early period. Most information about it I heard from my parents and my wife. My earliest memory after the accident is hearing strange sounds of people in distress in rehabilitation center, shouting and growling. While I physically could not move, I was tied up in bed because of the risk of falling. I wanted to give help, but of course this was impossible. Before the accident, I was leading a very worry-free life. I had a wonderful family, a meaningful job, fantastic hobbies, and a group of the finest friends. All this while living in a prosperous society. Then the accident changed everything. The only choice was to let go of my previous self. Lightheartedness in life and carefree living was gone forever. The only way to move forward was finding a way to be optimistic. For me, this means searching for a realistic optimism. I live minute to minute. Every completed little task is a new victory. I choose to keep moving step by step. In a direct way, this is a mental journey. I need to shape and direct my willpower by strictly choosing priorities and constantly live by them. Therefore, I try to determine the core of my central values and direct all my available scarce energy towards this. I started by giving the difficult aspects of my perseverance a name. I gradually developed a series of concepts, strong ideas, that I could use instantly, without further consideration, over and over again. It became fixed expressions. I use language as a tool against the disability and lifelong injury. The first concept I want to introduce is what I call the mental resilience reflex. In other words, how to stop thinking negative and start to fight back here and now. How to reach a constructive reaction. For me, it is important to avoid the shadow of pessimism. While lying in my bed isolated and alone for many months, it was easy to go into a negative spiral. What saved me from this spiral, besides good therapy and my loved ones, were podcasts and later on books. They fueled me with new, strong, positive ideas. I also noticed in rehabilitation center that on average people are very resilient. When the circumstances are good, helpful ideas are available, and when they are well surrounded. My story, hopefully, also contains general truths that can apply to anyone dealing with difficult times. It is also important for me, for my determination, to recognize the most positive memories I have from the difficult early period of my rehabilitation, like coming out of the wheelchair and taking my first steps, or the first shower I was able to take after more than 5 months, or being able to pee again after a urethra operation, and mentally sane surviving an epileptic seizure. The second concept I use is accepting the constant change of life. In other words, how to deal with a transformed identity. The very fact that I can have this talk, that I can express these thoughts consciously, is nothing short of a victory. It feels like a huge bonus. Besides the brain injury, my appearance also changed radically. When people look at my face, now, and especially before the first facial surgery, they feel an automatic distrust. They seem to think, what's the matter here? Can we actually trust this person? Small kids on public transport, for instance, can't stop looking at me. In this situation, you can either hide or show yourself. From day one, I decided to come outside. By realizing valuable connections again, I rediscover myself. Where is my mind? It can be rediscovered, picked up again, while talking face to face with other people. A third concept I want to talk about is non judgmental interaction. In other words, how to stop looking for a scapegoat, a guilty one. An important aspect of my accident is that the driver was drunk. It would seem easy to blame this person. However, It costs too much energy, and it is an unmanageable, aimless, destructive factor for my own rehabilitation. And moreover, I have no choice. My disponible energy has to aim for constructive action. A fourth concept is rehabilitation philosophy. In other words, how to give meaning to life again. A rehabilitation process can give a deeper meaning to life. I was exposed to an ocean of empty time to feel and reflect upon life. Parts of my rehab philosophy are letting go of things beyond your control, while maintaining control over your own interpretations and reactions. It's a combination of acceptance and resistance. Also, the transformation of difficult emotions into allies. Anger made me fight harder, fear made my thinking more careful and effective. Also, cognitive distancing through writing and talking, looking at the harsh truth of reality from a helicopter perspective. And also, a rational progress optimism. Optimism that is free of illusions. There is real progress. Let us do great stuff with it, is my proposal. The fifth concept is the effective altruism reflex. In other words, how to search for efficient charity. I was in the possibility to reach a valuable life in extremely difficult circumstances because I was surrounded by prosperity and caring people. I think this is a relevant fact. I wish to contribute to mature moral actions which may achieve this for as many people as possible. To conclude, a final concept, the ultimate motivation. In other words, how to recognize what's most important in life. The unconditional, fundamental goal of my reflex is to offer a useful and meaningful perspective on life to my daughters, who were 8 and 10 years old when the accident happened. That's what they deserve and need. Even when life gets hard, there are often still valuable options. This insight is what I want to demonstrate and elaborate. Thank you.